Well, welcome back to Extra Time. Very shortly, we're going to hear from Carlo Ancelotti, who spoke after that 2-0 win against Osasuna. First, quick question for the expert panel. Is that the Real Madrid we want to see? Obviously, more goals, but defensively, another clean sheet. They've yet to concede a goal in the Copa del Rey. Clean sheet against Celta at the start of the year in the league.
Well, Ancelotti has talked a lot this year about balance, and even when they've been winning games but conceding a lot of goals and scoring a lot of goals, he hasn't looked entirely happy. I think he will be relatively happy with the fact that it's a clean sheet. But in terms of the performance, to be honest, no. I think this is a long way from the Real Madrid he wants to see. They kept a clean sheet against Elche, but I thought they were a bit fortunate to do so. Elche had a lot of pretty good chances. This time, maybe you wouldn't say they were fortunate. One very, very good chance for Osasuna, but not much else. But I thought it was a slightly sluggish Real Madrid performance, in truth, and you know it's not about focusing on the goals, but the goals both kind of come in a way that wasn't about fluid play. And I think defensively he'll be reasonably happy, but I think he'll be expecting a lot more from the side. He admitted after the Elche game that he didn't think that Real Madrid had played particularly well.
Well, we've seen an improvement though. Say against Osasuna, they conceded 2 goals, just 1 shot on target.
Well, yeah, exactly. Defensively, he's going to be pleased with that. But then, you know, Osasuna didn't really, as we've been saying, didn't really push forward to try and
Isn't credit also to Real Madrid?
Well, yeah, in the way that they played. But, you know, I think I agree with Sid. I think the word sort of fluidity. They just weren't very fluid in the game. That was all.
Yeah, I think I listened to Carlo Ancelotti also in Paris Saint-Germain and Milan, and always saying the same history. You need to be in the best shape in February, on March, and I think some managers have several options. You have managers like Mourinho and others. They want to be in the best shape in the first 3 months, and you can win the league or not. And Ancelotti is different. Ancelotti won the best team in February and March in the key games on Champions League, on King's Cup. And now Luis Enrique have a question in the press conference, and he says, okay, Real Madrid, the best Real Madrid is coming. This Real Madrid is 50%. And now in February, against Schalke maybe, the Real Madrid is the best.
But isn't that what you kind of like plan at the start of the season? It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You obviously want to still be in contention for all the silverware come February, March, and that's when titles are won or lost.
But that in itself is risky, of course, because you can plan for a couple of peaks in a season, and a lot of managers plan for the team to have 2 peaks. The second one of which is the back end of the spring, just as you come into the summer, so April, May time. The first one tends to be as you build up towards Christmas, depending on what kind of team you've got. But of course, the risk is you say, okay, we protect people for them to have their peak later on the season, but what if the league title's already gone, which obviously is more or less happened to Real Madrid last season. You can also say, right, well, let's protect our players so we're ready in April and March. But what if by April and March you've got a situation like, for example, now, Sami Khedira won't be hit there in April and March no matter what? What if another player gets injured? So while you plan for it to some extent, there's also a certain element of, yeah, but we're planning on the run, and we're changing our minds as things happen, because you can't be sure what physical state the players will be in.
Yeah, but also this is the time of year when, you know, we've been talking about, you know, Jesse and his, you know, coming into the team, possibly Isco's thing. The thing is, you're giving these players, and I mean, the good thing for Jesse is he's been given, an opportunity, a couple of opportunities, and he's grasped those opportunities.
Well, that's like the flip side of the coin. If a player gets injured, another player has the chance.
And that's why you've got a big squad as well. And the other, it's also one of the reasons why I think Madrid wanted this Copa del Rey game, this first leg to be a big enough victory that they could effectively go into the second leg with a series of players that don't play that often, so that you're giving a rest to the players that do, so that you're giving an opportunity to the players that don't play often. Why? Because those players then feel fresher, they feel more involved in what the team's doing, they feel more part of it, they get more practice, in very simple terms, more practice, and the players that don't need that extra practice are given a bit of a break.
Yeah, and I think if you compare with Real Madrid, Carlos Queiroz team, in the first 3-4 months, Real Madrid won all.
Yeah.
But if you look at the bench in this squad, they have so many problems. And this Real Madrid is different. You have an academy player like Jesse, as Isco as a playmaker, and another defense like Varane, and several options to be with 2 teams. The big teams could change all players, and doesn't matter the game.
That's a great headache, though, for any manager to have, for Carlo Ancelotti, for example.
Well, it is, but a lot of the players are quite young as well. I mean, I think it's getting them to have some experience as well. I mean, there's experienced people on the bench probably cause more trouble, if you like,
than
having the youngsters.
Players who aren't used to
the important
being
thing
on
with the
board.
youngsters is getting them to develop, isn't it? You know, the sort of, Lara Mendes, Varane's or...
We'll be looking at the squad and some of these fringe players just in a moment, but now let's hear from Carlo Ancelotti, who we heard after the Osasuna game.
Well, in general terms, I think we put in a very good game, particularly in defence. We didn't run any risks at all at the back. Both of our centre-backs, Pepe and Ramos, played very well. We've been working on our defence, and that has benefited the whole team, because we now have security at the back, as we are trying to recover the ball further up the pitch. Cristiano and Jesse interchanged roles, both swapping over to man the wing. Maybe the only thing we lacked was precision in the final pass during the first half, but in the second half we improved. Jesse put in a great game. He worked hard and scored. He was always present in all of our moves. He did very well. As for the question about whether he should be first choice in the starting 11, as I have said before, he's an important player for us. He's played in some very important games, and I think he's in a good moment of form, and so we have to enjoy it. We took him off because he was suffering from cramp, that's all. 2-0 isn't a bad result. We tried to score a third goal and we were very close to getting it. We needed to gain a good advantage tonight because our last game in Pamplona wasn't easy. It's a good result to take into the return leg, and we'll be attempting to gain a 0-0 draw over there.
Me hubiese gustado que el equipo hubiese metido un gol más para ir con...
I would have liked us to have scored at least another goal so we could go there with a 3-0 scoreline. 2-0 is a tricky advantage, knowing what it's like at their stadium. But we are who we are. We play with intensity, with pace. We don't make it easy for people. And I'm sure we'll get a good result and progress to the next round. I have to thank Cristiano for the pass. It was perfect. The goal came from the pressuring of defenders by Cristiano, Benzema and myself. It was a swift move after that. In the end I scored, but it could have been any one of us. I'll keep on training and playing, and I'm delighted with what's happening because it isn't easy. I need to continue in the same vein. As I always say, there are some great players here, and I have to work hard every day, believing in myself, and in time I will reap the rewards.
Well, José's carried that form we saw at the end of 2013, goal against Valencia at Mestalla, into the new year. Scored against Paris Saint-Germain in Doha in that high-profile friendly, and again in the Cup.
Yeah, and he's responding every time, and I think right now he's making a very, very strong case for a more consistent inclusion in the team.
Yeah, and he's doing well because, I mean, at the beginning of the season it looked like Morata might be the one who would be sort of perhaps playing more, and, at the very beginning of the season Jesse was the one who was not able to sort of get in there and show what he can do, but since he's come on 2 or 3 games and he's done very well. Because
Morata's considered as the out-and-out striker, although it was Jesse who beat Emilio Butragueño's all-time record for goals in the second division. Jesse, would you say he's more versatile though? He can probably play off the striker.
He's much more of a footballer in the sense that he does much more. Morata is very willing. He's quite intelligent in his movement. He's there to finish chances off. But as we were talking about it earlier, Jesse's position really is between the centre-back and the full-back. It's not right up at the top of the pitch. It's making things happen. And I think, as I say, I think he's going to be particularly important against very, very defensive sides.
Well, that's all we have time for on today's show, but please keep sending in your comments to the hashtag below, also tweets, and also subscribe to the following address where you can follow Real Madrid on YouTube. From myself and the rest of the panel, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Adios.